This is Gbemisola Akayinode, and she has just left her own daughter to die, alone, inside a blistering hot car. It was a blistering summer afternoon in Galena Park, Texas. The kind of heat that seems to melt the air itself, where every breath burns a little and every step feels heavier than the last. At exactly 1:53 p.m., a woman had just finished her 8-hour shift at USG Corporation plant in Galena Park, Texas, and was walking to her car at the employee parking lot. Rows of sun-baked cars shimmered under the relentless sun. She opened the car door and immediately knew that something was wrong. On the back seat was her little girl, lying motionless, unresponsive. The woman went into panic mode instantly. She yelled for help. Others came running. But soon, everyone knew. They were too late. When they touched the child's skin, it was burning to the touch. Her small hands clenched around a half-empty bottle of water. Her name was Gbemisola Akayinode. She was just 9 years old. And her mother, Gbemisola Akayinode, a 36-year-old factory worker, had left her there for nearly 8 hours. When I first started digging into this story, I thought it was just another tragic accident, a case of forgetfulness, a parent distracted, a mistake that ended in horror. But as I read through the court documents, that idea fell apart fast. This wasn't an accident. It was planned. That morning, July 1st, 2025, Houston was already heating up. The temperature would later climb into the 90s Fahrenheit, hot enough to turn a car into an oven. Around 5 a.m., Gbemisola got her daughter ready. She packed some water, some snacks, and, according to her own words, gave her the little girl melatonin. Melatonin, the kind of pill people take to fall asleep. Then, she led her daughter to the car. Court documents would later reveal that Gbemisola knew she couldn't take her daughter inside her workplace, the USG industrial plant where she worked an 8-hour shift. She didn't have childcare, she said. She couldn't afford it. So she came up with a plan. She put her daughter in the back seat of the car, cracked a window just slightly, placed a small fan inside, and left her a bottle of water and some ice in a plastic bag. Then, by 5:45 a.m., she shut the door and walked away to her working place. For the next 8 hours, while she clocked in, worked, and talked to coworkers, her child sat alone in a car that was slowly becoming a furnace. And nobody noticed. When she finally finished work and walked to the parking lot, the truth hit her like a tidal wave. The moment she opened the car, the smell of heat and death rushed out. Her daughter's skin had blistered, her lips cracked. The small fan was still plugged into a power bank, dead. The Houston sun had done its worst. According to the Harris County Sheriff's Office, by the time paramedics arrived, it was too late. The girl's body temperature was recorded at over 108 degrees Fahrenheit. CPR was performed on Gbemisola, who was then taken to the nearby Harris Health Lyndon B. Johnson Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The medical examiner's office ruled her death a homicide as a result of hyperthermia. When detectives questioned Gbemisola, her explanation stunned everyone. She said she didn't want to leave her daughter alone at home. She said she thought the fan, ice, and water would be enough to keep her cool. She said that throughout her 8-hour shift, she did not check on her daughter in the car. She hadn't gone near the car once during her entire 8-hour shift. Not once. Investigators from the Harris County Sheriff's Office brought Gbemisola in for questioning. What came out of her mouth next sent shockwaves through the entire department. She told detectives she had given her daughter melatonin before work. to help her sleep through the day. That single sentence changed everything. What could have been treated as negligence or manslaughter now looked intentional. When investigators cross-checked the timeline, the melatonin, the 8-hour absence, the heat index, and her own admission that she knew it was hot outside, the case turned into something far darker. The Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences ruled the cause of death as homicide by hyperthermia. In October 2025, nearly 3 months after the tragedy, officers arrested Gbemisola Akayinode at her residence. She was charged with murder, not negligence, not child endangerment, but murder. When she appeared before a Harris County judge, her bond was set at $1 million. News of the arrest spread quickly through Galena Park and the greater Houston area. At first, people didn't want to believe it. Some defended her online, saying childcare is expensive, that maybe she made a terrible mistake. Others were furious, calling her a monster, a murderer, a woman who traded her daughter's life for a paycheck. Outside the USG plant, a small memorial began to form. Flowers, teddy bears, handwritten notes that read, "Rest in peace, Sikemi." Reporters reached out to the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Their statement was clear. Leaving a child unattended in a car for this length of time under these conditions demonstrates a clear disregard for human life. Behind bars, Gbemisola reportedly told investigators she had no choice. She didn't mean for this to happen. She claimed she couldn't pay for daycare until she received her paycheck. However, court documents said a coworker said he was helping her with money for daycare because he knew she was struggling to make ends meet. Also, investigators asked Gbemisola if she had checked the weather or if she knew how hot it was going to be outside. According to court documents, she said she didn't and that it slipped her mind. It was also revealed Akayinode had left a shade up in the front window of the car, making it difficult for passerbys to see inside. Gbemisola Akayinode made decisions that led directly to her daughter's death. The community of Galena Park will never forget that summer day. A day when a simple car in a parking lot became the site of a horrifying crime scene. When I heard officials talk about this, one line hit me harder than the rest. An official said, "The victim was discovered with evidence of prolonged heat exposure consistent with entrapment inside a vehicle." In other words, that little girl suffered for hours, and no one came. Every few minutes that day, the car grew hotter, from 90 degrees Fahrenheit to 110, then 120. Eventually, the inside reached over 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Within an hour, it was already lethal. By the time her mother was done working, her child was gone. Forever. The story of Gbemisola Akayinode isn't one you forget easily. It's not just about a single bad decision, it's about a chain of them. A woman who thought she could outsmart nature, a mother who gambled with time, and a child who paid the price. Today, Gbemisola sits in custody, charged with felony murder. Her case is ongoing, awaiting trial in Harris County, Texas. If convicted, she faces life in prison. And as for Sikemi, her name will forever echo as a reminder of what happens when care turns into cruelty, and when love, twisted by desperation, ends in tragedy. If you found this story interesting, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, not just for more true crime cases like this, but to help raise awareness of the dangers that can happen when responsibility slips into recklessness. Every child deserves safety. Every decision matters,